Mohammed. M&M Sports with Square Ring Incorporated, along with Cedric Kushner Promotions, in association with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you present 12 rounds of boxing for the unification of the WBC and WBA Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Sanctioned by the New York State Athletic Commission. Chairman, Mel Southard. Commissioner in attendance, Rose Trentman. First Executive Director, Tony Russo. Executive Director, Jim Polzanello. Director of Boxing, Bob Duffy. Deputy Commissioners at ringside, Mike Pascal and Steve Acunto. Timekeeper, Kathy Paulillo. Chief Physician at ringside, Dr. Billy Lathan. Attending physicians, Dr. Richard Estrico and Dr. Gerald Varlotta. WBA Supervisor, Murray Sleep. WBC Supervisor, Steve Crossan. The scoring will be done by 3 judges at ringside. Scoring on the 10-point must system, they are Marty Denkin from California, Dwayne Ford from Nevada, and Fred Ucci of New York. And when the bell rings, your referee, also from New York, is Jim Santa. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Mecca of boxing, New York City's Madison Square Garden, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing burgundy trim with white and weighing 175 pounds. In 1988, he won a silver medal in the Olympics, and now, as a professional, he has 36 victories, 31 by knockout, with only 1 controversial loss. And he has picked up 4 world titles. Ladies and gentlemen, from Pensacola, Florida, presenting the 4-time world champion and reigning and defending WBC Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Roy Jones Jr. And his opponent across the ring, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing black, trimmed with gold, and weighing 175 pounds. His professional record, 27 victories, 19 by knockout, with only 1 defeat. Ladies and gentlemen, representing the pride of all Puerto Rico Americans, from the Bronx in New York City, here is the reigning and defending WBA Light Heavyweight Champion of the World, Lou Honeyboy Del Valle.
Get out. Let's go. Everybody out. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Everybody out. Let's go. Let's get to the corners. Let's go. Let's go, guys. Which corner are you at? Let's go. Everybody outside the ring except for the second. Come here, Louis. Good evening, gentlemen. Good evening, gentlemen. We went over all the rules in the locker room. I'm here to protect you. Listen to me at all times. Let's touch gloves and have a good, clean fight. Let's go. Touch gloves. Let's go. Come on. There you go. Let's go.
Bad blood. These 2 guys don't like each other.
That was not a love kiss.
Jones says Del Valle is a traitor for never having indicated to him when he was sparring with him that he'd like to fight him someday. Del Valle says that Jones is conceited, stuck up, and needs to be brought down to size. You can see that Del Valle's a southpaw. Jones has only fought 1 southpaw previously in his professional career. First-round knockout of Antoine Berg.
Del Valle's chances, if you want to make him a lot, he's got to stay busy, fight 3 minutes every round. Don't allow this guy to set up or do anything. And of course, Roy Jones, just be himself. Go out there and make sure he doesn't give this guy any confidence.
Jones told us he wants to develop a rhythm that will tempt Del Valle into throwing his pet punch, his left cross, straight left hands. Sometimes he loops them. Jones says, if Del Valle will throw that left at me, I'll find a way to counter it.
Del Valle already threw one of them to the body. I imagine Jones is waiting for him to try it again.
Stop! No punches. Step back. Let's go. That's good. Listen. Good listening.
In the first Montel Griffin fight before the disqualification and in a previous bout against Mike McCallum, Jones showed a tendency to sometimes stand against the ropes and take punishment. Del Valle will be hoping for that. He needs to stay out of the center of the ring. Del Valle shaking his head no at Jones's right hand, and Jones leads with it again.
But Jones did what he should have done earlier. Take the confidence away from this guy. Don't allow yourself to be hit first. Someone's got to land the first punch. Always let it be you.
Roy threw a lot of jabs, an uncharacteristic jab output of close to 20 per round in his last fight against Virgil Hill. But against the southpaw Del Valle, he may not use the jab at all.
Let go, Roy. Come on, Roy. Punch, Roy. That's it. Don't push on the brake, Roy. Come on.
And you can see the taunting that's already going on between the two fighters in the ring.
Del Valle is not able to stop Jones from jumping on him, but he's got to make certain that he gets right back as soon as Roy Jones finishes. Be the first one back.
Right hand to the body by Jones. Landed in the middle of the chest. Little bit of a tactical battle so far because both men would rather counter than lead.
Del Valle is having the best of it because he's the heavier guy. When you want to throw a lot of punches early on, it's to the bigger guy's advantage because he's got that weight to make you a little tired.
Hard left hand by Jones at the end of round one.
All right, baby. Get to my bottom part of it. There you go. All right. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Good work. Good work. Deep breath.
Yeah, baby.
Deep breath. Nice and relaxed. Nice and natural. Right. Okay? I'm fainting. I look good, though? No, you look very good. Very good. Don't worry. Very good. He's ready to fly over. Right. Feints. Feints. Nice and relaxed. A lot of feints. Okay?
End of the round. Roy Jones throws a right and follows it up with a leaping left. That first round was more about personal stuff between them for old time's sake. Perhaps they'll settle down to a real prize fight from here on out.
That'll be interesting to see when punches start to fly. Del Valle only threw 31 punches in round one. Jones only threw 26. That's a very low output for both fighters. But both fighters like to pick their opportunities. Neither one is the kind of warrior who's going to throw 75, 80, 90 punches in a round.
Now Del Valle is doing the kind of fights that he should be doing. Always fight, never stop, and wait around and see the action.
Body punch from Jones.
Let's go, fellas. Let's go.
And a right hand by Jones as they stepped out of that clinch. And Del Valle tries to come back at him and manages to pin Jones against the ropes, but lands only to the body. 3 body shots, 4 body shots by Del Valle as he leaned in against Roy there.
Now remember, Roy Jones has added to his repertoire this straight left to the body now, so Del Valle is better be careful.
Chopping right hand over the top by Jones. There's a little bruise on Del Valle's right cheek under his right eye. The two men's heads came together over here against the left ropes. Del Valle swelled in the second round of his battle against Virgil Hill in Grand Forks, North Dakota, under the right eye, just as is the case again tonight.
Roy Jones is looping with his left hand now. Straight left, should be straight, but he's looping with it. Looking for one good shot, a knockout.
No punches, stop. Step back, good job, let's go.
I think we can see we're not going to see any left jabbing out of Roy tonight.
No, Roy Jones has been the most successful fighter.
Just as I say it, he throws a left jab. Yeah,
most successful fighter in his class without a left jab. Generally, it's a necessity to have a left jab in this business, or a right jab, so to speak.
Yep. Now Jones in a southpaw stance. Suddenly Roy switches into southpaw stance.
But he doesn't switch and jab.
Roy, look over, Roy, box it, Roy. Let's go, let's go. That's it. Watch your heads, watch your heads. Go the ropes.
Ball is doing a good job. Roy Jones shuts everything down once his back touches the rope.
Jones still in the southpaw stance. And Del Valle, of course, unaccustomed to fighting against a southpaw, backs up and tries to get a look at what Roy is doing. Hard left cross out of the southpaw stance by Jones. And he starts jabbing with the right hand.
Mean intentions on those punches.
What I like on your southpaw.
But the road to wherever is paved with mean intentions in this game. Didn't land anything.
Right here. Okay. Okay, you told us so.
No, that's good.
Look at jab on your southpaw side, though. Make him go for it. Keep working that jab.
I got you, bro. Yeah, go ahead. Control little jabs in high. Little jab, little fast jab. Yeah. He's fainting. You gotta do it. Put your hands up. He's watching you. You know, stay on level. Think. Hey, let it come natural. Stay on level. Stay on level. Come on.
Well, it'll be interesting to see if Jones comes out in his natural conventional stance or if he comes out to fight a full round as a southpaw. He's starting off in his natural stance. But you heard Alton Murkison, his trainer, telling him to keep throwing the right jab once he switches southpaw, and there he goes. And Del Valle immediately attacks when Jones switches feet and tries to land the left over the top. Straight right jab lands for Del Valle. Jones retaliating with a left across the top. Larry Merchant, you were highly critical of Oscar De La Hoya last summer when he went to a southpaw stance against Pernell Whitaker. What do you think of Jones doing the same thing here?
Well, we had never seen De La Hoya doing it before. We have seen Roy Jones do this before. Sometimes it can be an act of panic because you haven't been able to do what you normally do. I thought that was the case at the time with De La Hoya. But let's see how effective Roy Jones is at it. Why would the most dominant fighter on the planet beneath the heavyweight division have to change to the other guy? Why doesn't he make the other guy change to him?
Well, this guy's an athlete. Basketball, football, anything. So it's probably natural for him to do things that no one expects him to do.
And you saw the exchange along the ropes. Del Valle getting the better of the first half of the exchange, and then Roy Jones turning the tables as it closed out.
If Del Valle is able to come back and jab or do something after Jones finishes his stuff, he can be in good shape as this fight wears on.
Jones with a right hook out of his southpaw stance, and the left cross there. Del Valle trying to indicate with his facial expressions to Jones that Roy's not getting anything done with this unusual strategy of having switched to full-time southpaw in the third round. And Jones trying to leap and land that left across the top.
You know, the way Roy Jones fights, it's so unorthodox, throwing so few jabs, it almost seems that it doesn't matter which side he's fighting from.
He's an athlete. Some of these guys are so athletic that, you know, generally most fighters start off in the southpaw position anyway, and you have to be corrected. So he probably spent a lot of years doing that in the gym anyway.
You know, if he was a writer, he could write score from left to right or right to left and write a great book either way.
Squat. Squat. Switch the box.
Now, this is the only time that Del is effective, when he keeps Roy Jones against the rope. Get him there and keep him there. It takes a lot of energy to do that.
No punches, fellas. No punches. Louis, just watch ahead, okay? Let's go.
Round 3 coming to a close. There haven't been a lot of clean punches landed. There's been a lot of mean glares between two fighters who clearly are not friends.
Well, Del Valle is trying to frustrate Roy Jones. He may not be winning the fight, but he is causing some frustration.
Put that cup, baby. Okay.
All right.
My God.
You got him frustrated now. You got him in check. He ain't doing nothing. You're freezing him, okay?
You do.
Keep the bottle open.
Feint him if you don't want to do anything. If you don't want to throw the punch, feint him. Deep breath, deep breath. Doing good. Okay? A little more feinting, a little more jabbing. Throw the left of the body into the jab.
And keep the cold on it, Lou.
Left of the body after the jab. Watch it. When you're ready.
All right. Del Valle calls himself Honey Boy because Honey in the gym he grew up in was the ability to take a punch. There you see Roy Jones landing a clean left hand that's done a lot of damage to a lot of fighters. Del Valle took it. He got a taste of Roy Jones' honey.
Del Valle in the 3rd round only threw 22 punches. That activity level is not going to win him the fight. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through the first 3?
Jim, I've got it 3-0, 30-27, Roy Jones Jr.
Meanwhile, the crowd goes crazy as Del Valle begins scoring in the corner.
He's throwing punches. He's not the one holding on, though. Roy Jones has his hand cuffed under there.
And referee Jim Santa just pulling the two fighters apart. No warning on either side. Jones thought he was being held. You heard George Foreman say, no, Roy was doing the holding. And Del Valle had his best flurry of the fight. Body shots from Jones.
The Valle corner told him, if you're not going to do anything else, just feint. But Roy Jones, if you feint and don't do something, you'll clean your house. It's not a good idea to feint.
Let go, Roy. Come on, box down. Let's go. You box away out. Let's go. That's it. Good job. Good job.
I've always thought of Jones as one of the masters of feinting other fighters. Del Valle said he's susceptible to feints. You can move him around by feinting him.
Yeah, but Roy Jones fights such a good fight with his eyes that you're not going to trick him much. He's doing the feinting.
Jones is throwing so many hard punches. It'll be interesting to see how his conditioning holds up over the course of the fight. He's taking this fight on extremely short notice given his past habits as a businessman.
And another thing is develop into a light heavyweight fight. It's no longer that middleweight thing happening now. So this is not good for Roy Jones. He's going to have to keep his quickness up, not go into the corners and allow this big guy to hit him in the side. Good body punch by Roy Jones. Another good body punch.
Jones going to the middle of Del Valle's belly with success. Over and over. He's landed about 5 excellent body shots in this round. And that's what it sets up when you land to the body.
Leroy Neiman, the artist, is here. And sometimes these two fighters look like they're posing for him.
Roy Jones takes such pot shots at you that you got to be active. You got to be doing something all the time. Otherwise, you can get hurt.
Ain't gonna take no chances. You lay it out there. Way to get the right hands in.
Towel, wipe my face. Don't put my stomach in, baby.
I got you. I got you. You rinse his mouthpiece out.
There you go.
As long as you hit him every once in a while like you hit him. This Turkey ain't gonna take no chances and come in. He fighting defense.
He knows. He already knows waiting on him.
Just stick with your game.
Baby, listen to me. Left hand hard, body set it up for the okay, he's falling back on it. It's there. Deep breath, baby.
There you see Del Valle with his best punch. Clean shot on the jaw, and now he holds, hits, and tries to rough Jones up. That was early in the round. Jones dominated the second half of the round. Hard right hand, oddly enough, to the right side of Del Valle's jaw. This is a fight that in some passages is so awkward and unorthodox. You don't know which punch is going to land on which side of the fighter, George.
And Harold Letterman's card still clean as he gives every round so far to Roy Jones. George?
I agree.
Give it up, give him up.
The thing that's so good about Roy Jones, though he has good power shots on the top, continuously goes back to the body.
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say the best work he's done tonight are those body shots. It's been 16 months since Jones's disqualification against Montel Griffin in the first Griffin fight. Coming into tonight, he had fought 12 minutes and 42 seconds total in those 16 months. So he's already fought more tonight for a longer period of time than was the case in the whole 16 months since his only loss. And we haven't seen the southpaw stance since the end of the third round.
Come on, Louie, watch your head, Louie. Box it.
So Jones is going back to his conventional style now after having given Del Valle something to think about with a round and a half of southpaw fighting.
Now he's got his eyes wide open on Del Valle and landing with those straight left hands.
Jones with some showmanship and a repeated series of right hands. And Del Valle trying to indicate that Jones isn't doing damage, but he's landing and landing again.
I don't know if this is a dance or a fight or both.
A dancing fight.
Well, Roy brought an entourage of rap musicians with him tonight, and he's trying to impress them on both fronts. Footwork and fist work.
Strange stuff going on in there.
Good straight left hand to the body by Del Valle at times. Once it goes off on you a few times, just go back to his body. Don't get excited.
Don't lean over your head, Louie. Come on, let's go.
Yeah, Del Valle somehow got to ignore all of Jones's unconventional brilliance and stick to the business at hand. I think he'd do well to stay with the body, George.
Yeah, Roy Jones is landing some effective shots now. It's a matter of Del Valle just waiting to be cleaned out if he doesn't get active. Can't wait around on Roy Jones.
5 seconds. 5 seconds. 2 seconds. Time. Good job.
Very fast, dude.
That's right, baby. We fucking
Victor, work the other spread. More water, baby. Come on. Come on. You got some more water, but ain't nothing. Need some water. You're doing real good. Very, very good.
There we see an Apache dance of violence before he punches.
Let's go seconds.
And later in the round, he lands a clean right hand right there.
Well, you heard Joe DeGuardia, Lou Del Valle's manager, telling him that he thinks he's doing well. But Del Valle only threw 26 punches in the 5th round. Jones threw twice as many.
Yeah, he's averaging 10 punches landed per round. That won't get it. But Del Valle, as he put it, although he's making by far the biggest purse of his career, a total of $850,000, and he's fighting for respect, And you can see he does have passion in there, and he is fighting for his hometown fans. And going this far with Roy Jones in itself is an accomplishment off of Jones' recent form.
Work your way out yourself. Come on, work your way.
You got to be dedicated to your training at this point. You're not winning a fight, but something can happen if you keep your stance, use your jab. You can make things happen. You got to believe that if you're a boxer.
First light heavyweight unification bout in 15 years since Michael Spinks unified the title against White Braxton in Atlantic City in 1983.
Roy Jones is throwing some really hard jabs here for him. We've seen him in the past throw some of those 12-inch jabs that were really faint.
That's some of the best body punches I've seen thrown in that weight division.
That was a vicious body shot. Of course, you remember that Jones knocked Virgil Hill out with a single body shot to the left side of Hill's ribcage. Three-punch combination with the right hand. Roy says, oh, you don't think I hurt you with that? We'll take some more.
Now, when you start throwing reckless punches like that to the body, you run into the elbow and you end up hurting your own hand. Jones may get his right hand into the problem.
Good job.
I think Duvall's spending entirely too much time offering commentary on Roy's work and not enough time working himself.
Yeah, well, a fight can be seen as a violent dialogue, but they're having words as well as fistic dialogue.
It's just that Duval is not answering with his fists often enough. Another body shot from Jones.
Makes Duval jumps in the air.
Duval's only thrown 10 punches so far in this round.
With that kind of power, Roy Jones belongs in the heavyweights.
Hard right hand inside by Jones. He keeps this up. He's going to start painting Duval's face as the rounds go by. And you can see there's swelling under Duval's left eye now to go with the swelling under his right eye. So Jones has begun to make Duval's cheekbones expand.
Protect yourself. Protect yourself.
And again, Jones switches to the southpaw stance. So once again, the tactical wrinkle, which obviously he put in just for this fight.
3 seconds.
Jones jabbing with the right hand and crossing with the left.
Lefty, I know he's kicking me. He's picking me too much. He's kicking me? He's picking me too much. I don't want you laying there. Keep those hands up, very up high. Let them come straight out from high. He's getting tired. From high up. Yeah, he's taking the steam's coming out of his punches. Listen to me, baby. Throw it from the hands up high so they come out faster. Which one? Both hands up high. Both up high. Let those hands go. Okay, walk in with the jab and let the left hand go. Deep breath. Deep breath. Don't let him control.
Here's the body shot. It was a shot like that that ended the fight against Virgil Hill. Later in the round, a winging right hand landed high on the cheekbone. Didn't do a lot of damage.
Let's go.
Round 7 begins. Harold Letterman, how do you have it through 6?
6-0. 60-54, Roy Jones Jr. Jim, I wanted to say the last time before that action heated up that I think the reason Roy Jones went southpaw was definitely because Lou Del Valle would come in. When Roy Jones would be squared up right in front of him, Lou Del Valle comes in and butts
Good shot by Duval.
And in order to get away from Louis butting him, he went southpaw.
I think
Duval actually believed that Roy Jones is tired.
Let go, Louis.
I think you may be onto something there, Harold, and I think you are too, George, as Duval suddenly awakens to new aggression.
Ooh. Body shots.
And Duval beginning to ask referee Jim Santa for a little help against the body shots, and you heard Santa say no, it was right there. Jones going back to the body, pumping the left hand.
Let go, Lou. Break. No punches. Punch the arm. Okay. Doing good. Let's go.
This referee, Santa, was scheduled to be the referee of the heavyweight championship fight between Evander Holyfield and Henry Akinwande that was canceled here June 6th. Duval's going to have trouble punching if he jumps in the air every time Roy hits him in the body, George.
Yeah, that punch will make you jump. He believes that the punches are going too low. DeVal does. The referee seems not to think as much.
Wait a second. Time. Give me a towel.
Time now to try to wipe a wet spot in the ring. So yeah, Santa was going to do Holyfield Akinwande before that cancellation.
Time it. Let's go.
Therefore, it's appropriate that he gets to do the next big fight here in New York, and this is it.
DeVal has got something weak. He got beat up, but he still maintains the aggression.
Jones's right hand landed on the shoulder. And Roy back in his conventional stance, but still with that unconventional game out of it. Roy just strafing Del Valle's belly with body shots.
Yeah, and if he lands too many more of those, DeVal is going to go down because of it.
But DeVal just missed with the left over the top and got butted in the eye. So their heads do come together, and it's Lou Del Valle who pays the price.
He has cut many times before. I thought I saw Roy sort of apologize to him. It obviously was not a deliberate butt, but this fight will not go on more than another round or two with a cut like that, it appears.
Well, you heard Harold Letterman saying that he thought Roy had switched southpaw to avoid that kind of butting. They were in the normal configuration with DeVal fighting southpaw, Roy in his conventional stance, and boom, the heads came together. As had been the case once back in round number 2, before Roy went to the southpaw stance.
Accidental button.
No. Stay together and listen to Joe.
Al Gavin, one of the very best cutmen alive, going to work for Lou Del Valle.
He's going to have to do as good a job as he's ever done before on an eye to make this one work.
Look at that eye. No, accidental.
Looks like a very, very bad cut.
I know. I got it. Okay.
Give us a shot, Doc.
Do your magic there, Al.
Well, let's take a look at the butt, Larry.
Now, there you see, left-hander against a right-hander. They both start to throw punches and come in at the same time. Result, blood on the floor, blood on the eye.
Let's go. Roy, gotta keep that.
One of the unfortunate realities of the sport. All right, Harold, now we're past the midway point of the fight. What happens if the bout is stopped because of that cut?
Jim, beyond the 4th round, under the rules of the Association of Boxing Commissioners, if this fight is stopped because of that cut, we go to the scorecards. Whoever's ahead on the scorecards wins. They don't deduct any points, from uncut guys or anything like that, but they will go to the scorecards in case the fight is stopped, on account of that accidental headbutt.
And just to reaffirm, your scorecard's still a shutout, right?
Absolutely. 7 rounds to nothing, 70-63. So Jones is in a good position if they stop the fight.
And in the last round, DeVal only threw 21 punches. That's after he threw 15 punches in the round before. He just hasn't been able to mount a consistent attack against Jones's body assault.
Well, his hope was, as I suggested earlier, Jim, frustrate Roy Jones, hope that he's in better shape and make something happen in the second fight. Doesn't look like that's going to work. He has to throw everything, all caution out, and try to get some damage in, make something happen here very quickly.
Good body punch again.
DeVal literally cringing when Jones comes at him with the right hand to the body.
That Jones is going to feint that straight right hand pretty soon and go straight up top. And he won't have any problem landing it.
I don't remember before the Virgil Hill fight, Roy Jones throwing an awful lot of body punches, but he has suddenly discovered it and has fallen in love with the idea of throwing body punches.
Once you see those kind of returns, you have to go back to it.
Well, he really developed a respect for Mike McCallum when he fought McCallum and spent time with McCallum before the fight. Maybe McCallum, one of the great body punchers in the last 25 years in the sport, said to him, Roy, your life would be so much easier if you do what I do.
Just box, though. Just box. Like that. That's it. Good job.
cleanly knocked down on a straight left by Lou Del Valle.
That's the hardest punch I've ever seen Roy Jones take. Del Valle is desperate, trying to make something happen, as we said earlier. He hurt Roy Jones.
He's been thinking all night Roy Jones is getting tired. Though he was being hurt, he kept the confidence that this guy's running out of steam.
Well, in his only loss, Del Valle knocked down Virgil Hill with a straight left hand. Now in trouble against Roy Jones, he produces knockdown lightning again.
Now Roy Jones is doing an excellent job of holding on. There's nothing wrong with holding on.
It's professional, right?
Yeah, you go to your corner now. That stool should be in the corner before he gets there.
Del Valle earned the applause of his fans with that tremendous punch.
What a shot.
A tremendous punch.
What a shot. Just a devastating left hand.
All right, a slam dunk.
Just keep your hand.
Here comes a knockdown. Roy turned his head. As you saw, he never had an idea the punch was coming because his head was turned away. Watch him turn away right there.
This is what happened when you get hit by a light heavyweight. He was a heavyweight by this time.
You know, we've often asked, what would Roy Jones do if he ever got in trouble, if he ever really got hurt? Perhaps we have a chance to see it tonight.
Well, as George pointed out, he showed the professionalism of knowing how to stop the clock, in effect, and hold on to get out of the round. Then he came back to the corner with triumphant body language. Let's see if he can go back to doing what he was doing.
Now he's going to have to use his jab, respect this guy, because that extra weight, Del Valle has something left in these last few rounds.
Well, and we showed you, Del Valle put on 17 pounds since the weigh-in and came here tonight at 192, 8 pounds more than Jones, who weighed 184. Aha! There's a wet spot there, and that is exactly the spot at which Jones went down. Not to say that it wasn't a great punch by Del Valle, but there is a wet spot. No, Jim, it's on the far side of the ring, over there.
Let's go.
I don't think they got the wet spot.
And the wet spots are going to affect Roy Jones most because he's spreading his legs so far apart and expecting to be able to jump up and move.
And also, he's the one that's making the ring wet. Look at the water dripping from his trunks, Jim.
Harold, wet spot comment. Okay, Jim, look. Alton Murchison is soaking Roy Jones down in between rounds. I mean, he came out with those trunks soaking. The executive director of the State Athletic Commission, Tony Russo, is in the corner right now with Alton Murchison showing him out. The reason they're slipping is because Jones has got so much water in those trunks that it's dripping off. There's water all over the ring, and they're slipping on the wet spots. Tony Russo is giving it to Alton Murchison with both barrels right now.
Well done, Harold. Russo thought his hardest job tonight was going to be to clear the ring before the referee's instructions.
There's that slippery ring again affecting Roy Jones. Del Valle should be working his jab, forgetting everything else. That punch will come again.
Jones going back to working straight rights and not to the body now. He's going right at Lou Del Valle's bruised and bleeding left eye.
Al Gavin must have run some job on that eye to keep Del Valle in the fight. And Roy Jones has not exploited it up to now.
He has not tried to land one shot on that eye, which I think is really professional. He wanted to win, and he wanted to win easily. Didn't want to go for a cut.
There are a handful of brilliant cutmen in the sport. You saw the miracle that Joe Souza put together with Arturo Gatti here in the Garden a couple of years ago against Wilson Rodriguez. Souza's one of them. Gavin is certainly another.
Let go, let go, let go, Louis.
Roy dealt with the knockdown by being just a little bit more cautious.
All right, we're going to the 10. Don't worry about trying to hit this taker with no big shot. Let's hit him with a lot of small shots. He took some good shots, okay? Put that towel on his shoulders, man. On his shoulders. Okay?
I'm going to hit again.
He got you.
I'm good.
Okay. This one good. We got 3 more rounds. This one got to get about them big shots. Just touch him over.
Hit him low. Set it off. Then feint with it and use the left hand. All right, baby? Just like in the gym. Deep breath. Doing beautiful. Beautiful. Use those hands. Lost that round. Use those hands, baby. You gotta use those hands. Those hands up. And use the jab. Work on this round. Come on. This round.
Well, unless there's something unusual going on with the scoring, Del shouldn't have to worry too much about whether he's winning rounds. Jones should have that situation well in hand. But the first fight was scored much more closely by the official judges than would have been the case here among us at ringside. And let's see how Harold Letterman has it going into the 10th of a scheduled 12. Harold?
I got Roy way ahead. 88-82, 8 rounds to 1, Roy Jones Jr. I think he's in complete control of this fight outside of that 8th round when he got trapped. You know, he just keeps landing the stronger, harder punches. Louis got to pick up the action and try and get him out of here. But I tell you something, in that corner again, Ferguson was taking out water and dumping it over Roy Jones's head, and he's doing the same thing, soaking that ring down. Hope somebody doesn't fall on their face, Jim. But Roy Jones is out punching him.
All right. Lou Del Valle's never had a knockout beyond the 8th round. He probably needs one now. Jones looking down at wet canvas underneath his feet.
I think that Roy Jones fell asleep that round. He got knocked down. Now he's alert. He was counting on the referee, maybe looking at this guy's eyes too much.
And he certainly started to do what you suggested. When he was landing those straight rights to the body, you said he was going to come upstairs soon. Now he has made that change.
It was time to do that. But Del Valle has got no respect for Roy Jones' power. Doesn't matter how hard he hits him, he comes right back and try to get one in.
Well, but not often enough to throw punches in bunches. I mean, Del Valle is still throwing 20, 25 punches around. It's not an activity level that's going to win rounds for him.
At this point, he's looking for a knockout, no doubt about it. He knows now that he has the power to put this guy down. Every time the referee stops this fight for any reason, it's the Roy Jones advantage. Stops the action for anything. Roy Jones benefit.
Time. Fix this.
And this is going to be a loose tape on the glove situation. So Jim Santa with a lot of situations to deal with tonight in a very active evening of refereeing.
I kind of like the work that Santa does.
I particularly like the way he apprises the fighters carefully as to how much time is left in each round.
He's a good referee. There's been some good referees tonight, period.
Well, Mercanti Jr. learned from his dad.
Sometimes when someone hits you with a straight left like Del Valle did earlier, Roy Jones should adjust his defense. Bring his hand a little closer to his face.
Box your way out. Let's go. Let go, Roy. Let go, Roy.
He hasn't done as much. So that punch is still there for Del Valle.
Jones smiling at trainer Alton Merkerson.
As he clinched momentarily there with Del Valle, Jones landing the straight rights now, foregoing the body punching, which sustained him throughout most of the fight. Del Valle trying for another one of straight lefts of his own and just missing.
It's there all night for him because Roy Jones has not adjusted his defense. Del Valle hit him with a good straight left a minute ago that did shake him a little bit.
You think Roy's just too arrogant to adjust his defense?
Let go, Louis. Let go, Louis.
You think he's just too arrogant to adjust his defense?
Yeah, that has a lot to do with it.
Next month, Boxing After Dark returns with the exciting Arturo Gatti. Just mentioned him a little while ago, facing Ivan Robinson in a lightweight matchup, and junior middleweight sensation Fernando Vargas taking on Jose Antonio Rivera. Saturday, August 22 on HBO. Fernando Vargas, if you have not seen him, you book this day right now and make sure that you see Boxing After Dark because you must see Vargas.
Absolutely, no worry about it. You're still going to be a movie actor, and a champion with 2 belts.
How's that eye? How's that eye? Okay.
You okay?
Get a little off space.
Okay, pull the stuff. Let's go.
Okay, wipe it down. Good job.
I don't think I've ever seen a corner do a better job on an eye, because that was really, really an ugly cut.
It was a deep cut. Well, we've covered Gavin with glory, and deservedly so, for the work he's done in keeping Lou Del Valle in the fight. And remember, the knockdown occurred after the cut.
You know, the stoppage of the action really benefits Roy Jones. I don't know why they don't get there and tie that glove up and keep it tied. Taped up correctly. Every time they have to stop in action, Roy Jones refreshes himself. And you don't want a Roy Jones refreshed.
You know, early on in the fight, Roy was trying to put some serious hurt on Del Valle. We heard that rap song, the KO in 2 rounds. It appears now that he is satisfied to go home with the victory. If he gets a big opening, he might take it, but he's not pressing the point anymore.
And surely the Del Valle contingent will lobby for a rematch. Oh, maybe not. Great right hand landed for Jones, and another delay. This one may have helped Del Valle.
Well, those delays should have refreshed Roy Jones, I'm telling you. Every time a delay comes, Roy Jones gets a little energy.
That's the 5th delay I count. Given Roy's unorthodox style, given Del Valle's left-handed style.
Same punch that knocked him down a moment ago, he gets caught with again.
And you're right, he still hasn't adjusted his defense.
You got to adjust your defense. You just can't go to your corner and your corner agrees with you. You got to give you some kind of instruction.
But just as Del Valle has been able to land hard lefts, Jones is able to come back with hard rights. Del Valle jumping off the canvas to try to protect himself against body shots, which is why I haven't seen you do that, George. The day I see you jumping off the canvas,
the day you see me jump here.
You think he's trying to make the body punch land low by jumping up over it?
Well, it throws Roy Jones off like a moving target. Roy Jones is trying to mix it up, but this does not benefit Roy Jones to mix it up with this big guy. This guy has shown that he has power. It's a matter of just kicking that right hand up and just putting it on the opposite side of your face. You don't get caught anymore.
Okay. Let go, Louie. Come on, Roy. Get your arms back. That's it, fellas. Good job. Good job. Okay, no punches, no punches. Step back.
This has been another low-activity round for Del Valle, with the exception of the one hard straight left hand that he landed. Hasn't had a chance to throw many punches.
Come on, let go.
Jones with a much bigger punch output and landing consistently with straight right hands.
Step back, come on, guys.
Well, I don't think Roy Jones Jr. expected to go 12 rounds tonight.
No, I think he came out as RJ early in the fight, but he's Roy Jones at this point in the fight.
I thought you slipped.
I did kind of slip, but
You did.
it was a good damn shot.
It was a kind of...
Who's water? I want to hear it again.
Water. Use those hands. Water. Use those hands. All right. Hands up. Use them. When you're getting off, he's backing up. Right. Okay? Use them. Okay. You heard him before. You'll do it again. Water, Victor. Victor, walk him. Come on, baby.
Look at this shit.
Let him go a little bit. Don't let him control the pace.
Well, Del Valle is in the position that David Reed was in during the Olympics, hoping that one big punch can turn around the result.
12th of a scheduled 12. Lou Del Valle needs a big left hand to score the upset victory over Roy Jones.
Protect yourself.
Jones needs to hope that he's not going to be victimized by a hometown Gardenside decision against him. But these are WBC judges, not New York judges.
Okay, let go, let's go. Pay attention, Roy, pay attention.
Jones taking a lot of chances. He's been a little extra courteous. Anything can happen in a minute, in 2 minutes. Del Valle's corner told him, you got that straight left hand over earlier, you can do it again.
Watch it, watch your head. Watch your head, Louie. Louie, watch your head, come on. Come on, let go. Let's box. Let go, Roy, come on, Roy.
Well, whatever else he gets out of this fight, guys, he'll be able to relive that knockdown of Roy Jones for the rest of his life.
Man, it was like a slam dunk. Body slam, I mean.
First time Jones has ever been knocked down in a professional fight. And he's halfway now to Oscar De La Hoya's total. De La Hoya's been knocked down twice, much earlier in his career.
And Del Valle can boast. I had him down, and did I have him down good?
I had him down in New York in front of all my buddies.
Watch your heads, fellas.
Oh, this will be a moral victory for Del Valle in his hometown because of the high expectations anytime Roy Jones comes into the ring, because of his reputation as the best fighter in the world south of the heavyweight division.
Now Del Valle is holding on. This is not what he wanted to do in 42 seconds left.
Let's go.
Well, because of their unorthodox styles, George, it's almost like two guys trying to converse in different languages sometimes. They just sort of fall all over each other.
Yeah, it's happening over and over.
A couple of rounds ago, you heard Cutman Al Gavin tell Lou Del Valle, it's okay, you're still going to be a movie star and a world champion with 2 belts. Well, maybe he'll be a movie star.
You never know about these judges. You got to win these boxing matches. You got to win them with the guy on the canvas.
Well, Roy Jones is closing the show.
Del Valle apparently too exhausted to do much in the last couple minutes of that round. The tall gentleman talking to Lou Del Valle. That's Al Gavin, the cut man who heroically kept Del Valle in the fight and gave him his chance to knock Roy Jones down.
Let him breathe, let him breathe.
Harold Letterman, your final scorecard.
Jim, 118-109, 11 rounds to 1, Roy Jones Jr. I just thought, you know, the story is he outpunched him. I mean, he's just too great an athlete, but it certainly was, you know, a Rocky I story for Louis Del Valle. He went the distance. Nobody thought he'd go the distance. Amazing that he takes such a great punch, you know? And, I mean, I thought Roy did, you know, most of his shtick for us. I like that walk-away move that he stole from Jersey Joe Walcott. He walks away, turns around and whacks him. The shuffling of the feet. I mean, I think we saw it all tonight. Just about the wobbling of the knees. I mean, he did everything to Louis Del Valle but shoe shine him. So, Roy Jones with a decisive victory.
You got a big laugh from George, Harold. And
No,
I'm
because
sure
he was telling it like it is.
there are millions at home having just as good a time as you're having, George. Highlights of the fight. In early action, Roy Jones was able to dominate with greater punch output, He landed straight right hands. He went to a conventional stance and landed left crosses out of that conventional stance. He landed the right upstairs and downstairs and dominated through rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6 with stylish action like that. Right hands to the body, lifting Del Valle off the canvas. Then in the 7th round, the unfortunate moment when their heads came together and the horrible cut that ensued over Del Valle's left eye. And then in the 8th round, Roy Jones knocked down for the first time ever on a straight left hand from Del Valle that landed right on the button. But Jones was able to come back from that and get the better of his man in the closing rounds. And we'll now see if the judges saw it the way we did. Michael Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we go to the Budweiser scorecards. Fred Ucci scores the bout 118 to 109. Marty Denkin has it 118 to 109. And Dwayne Ford scores it 119 to 108 for the winner, who is now the unified WBC WBA light heavyweight champion of the world. And he is Roy Jones Jr.
So it turns out to be a lopsided unanimous decision, as one judge has it even more one-sidedly than Harold did.
Harold did a great job this time.
Harold called this number. Well, Harold always does a great job, George. Sometimes the other guys don't do as good a job.
I knew him.